Right, you lot, it's transfer deadline day, and let's talk Villa. Without further ado, let's get the Twitter up on the screen. As you can see here, Aston Villa have secured two signings this January deadline day, and that is Lino Sousa from Arsenal and Joe Gauci from Adelaide over in Australia, mate. And the full player profiles, which we're going to get into in a little while, and then obviously this video. But I said, who are you fans more excited by? Sousa or Gauci? 26 votes, 62% said Sousa, which I get. He is an outfielder, he's a left back, which we'll get into a little bit more a little bit later on. And, you know, Gauci's pretty much just been signed to be our backup goalkeeper. But we have signed two players on deadline day. Obviously, technically, Morgan Rogers counts as a deadline day signing. But there, you can see the video that I've already done on him. Link will be there as well if you want to go learn more about him, because he'll be confirmed today. But these two are really the two boys that you need to be worrying about, because they have been signed, one from Arsenal, one from Adelaide. Let's get in and learn a bit more about them and why I think we've signed them and where they could fit into this Aston Villa squad. So first of all, we're going to kick it off with Aston Villa's brand new but going out on loan first left back, which is Lino Sousa. Let me know how you pronounce that down in the comments below, by the way. So we have signed him from Arsenal, plays in the Premier League 2 at the moment, but he has been on the bench a couple of times for them this season, I think in the FA Cup and in the Champions League as well. And here, like I say, just a quick flat fire. It's hard to find stuff on these youth players that have only really played in the under-23s, but I have managed to find a few things. So he is 19 years old. He's just turned 19. I think his birthday was literally like the 19th or 18th of January. So just turned 19 years old. Born in 2005, which is mental to say because that just seems so young. He can play left back, obviously primarily, but he can also play centre back and left mid. This season in total, he's played 14 games, scoring 3 goals and not registering an assist as of yet. We move down here, and this is how he was described by a guy called Jorge or George Bird, who does a lot of articles about pretty much the Arsenal youth setup and Arsenal Academy. And he described him as a hugely talented left back, effective both defensively and in an attacking sense, and he looks to have a bright future. And I was just saying, you know, as you can see in the poll down here, for now, he goes on loan to Plymouth Argyle for the rest of the season. Obviously, we've just recalled Kane Kessler-Hayden from there, so we're like, we've taken a young fullback back. Here you go, have another one. He hasn't played any, I don't think he's played a single minute of senior football yet in his career. He might have played a couple, you'd have to let me know on that one, but as far as I could see, it would be a substitute appearance somewhere, so he's going to go and be able to play some adult football in the Championship, which is a hard league to get your debut in. But I said, do you think by next season he'll be our starting left back? Out of 34 votes, 29% said yes, 47% are reserving judgment and saying maybe, and 24% said nah, he'll be loaned out again. But just talking about him, I'll try and throw up some clips of him just here.
Away from bodies forward. Woodburn starting to come into the game a bit more. His physicality. Ball whipped into the back post. That's a good on.
Did find Patino. What can that open up, I wonder, for Arsenal? Sousa. He's done well since coming on, no question. Here he is. Through to Beereth. Great save.
Sousa. Sousa cutting in. Still going. It's a good run. Sousa.
He was also described as Arsenal's next Zinchenko, the perfect modern fullback, and very, very highly rated throughout Arsenal's youth setup. He has actually come through, surprise, surprise, the West Brom youth setup, who we've just signed another highly rated player from, which I'll do in a separate video, because he's going to go into our academy and not our first team, and I thought it's probably best to separate those, especially when I do like our half-season reviews. I'm going to do a half-season review of the men's team and the academy team. But again, a perfect modern left-back is how he's been described. He's clearly, highly rated. He's been at Arsenal many, many years. I think Juventus were one of the other teams, and Galatasaray that were tracking him, and I think Rangers as well over in Scotland. So he's clearly highly rated, and I think this is the reason we've signed him. There is a lot of talk about Luca Digne going to Saudi Arabia. We want to get him off of the wage books, and if I put up like our wage stats here, you can see I don't even want to talk about the fact that Yuri Telemans is right at the top of that list, but Luca Digne is up there, 120 to 130 grand a week. And although I like Digne, I think he's actually had a good season for us, Moreno's only on like 35 grand a week. This kid's only going to be on like what, maybe 10, 15, 20 grand a week. To get Luca Digne out, ship him off to Saudi Arabia for FFP and for our wage budget and the structure of the club going forward. And, we probably will actually be able to get a decent amount of money for Luca Digne. I'd imagine 20 to 30 million from Saudi Arabia for him. And they're going to have money to spend because there's players leaving that league. I think this is a very shrewd and a very clever sign-in. I think it was quite obvious anyway. Obviously, he isn't back to full fitness yet, I don't believe, because he still just looks a bit off of it. But Alex Moreno was clearly signed to be our number one left-back. Emery clearly likes him. Spanish, in La Liga, seen him before, worked with him before. I think it's obvious. Even when they're both fully fit, Moreno's going to be our first choice option. So why would you have someone who's on 130 grand a week on the bench? Doesn't really make sense. And to move him on, I think makes sense. I think, like the Twitter poll, I don't think he'll be our starting left back next season. I think he might be a bit too young, but who knows? He might just burst onto the scene like Micah Richards. Do you know what I mean? But I just think he's going to be our backup left back for a little while to come. But I think he has potential to obviously burst in to the first team at some point. But it makes so much sense to move Digne on off of that ridiculously high salary. I like him, don't get me wrong, but he's not worth 120 grand a week at all. So ship him off. Sousa comes in to be our backup left back, and Moreno starts next year, and they interchange between the two. 8 out of 10 signing. I'm buzzing with that one. I'm really happy with that because we have to work within the wage budget. We have to work within FFP guidelines, and very, very shrewd. I like this from Monchi a lot. I think it stinks of a Monchi signing, and I'm buzzing with that one. Let me know what you think about him down below. But let's get into our second Deadlay signing. Deadlay sounds a bit like Australian, doesn't it? But it's Joe Gauci, mate. And we move on to our second deadline day, signing of this January transfer window. And as you can see next to me, it is our new backup keeper, Joe Gauci, from Adelaide in Australia. He is 23 years of age, 6'4", and stats this season, they're 8th in the league, currently in the A-League, I think it's called over there. And it is a 10-game, 2 clean sheet kind of season. He's conceded 17 goals, I think it is, with a 74% save percentage for them over there. And he is a full Australian Socceroo international. So he is pretty much their first choice keeper, I think, at this point. That save we're going to play now.
Right ball wide, incredible save from Gauci. What a save.
There's no
Socceroo will come in to replace Robin Olsen as our number 2 behind Martinez, which is fine. I don't really rate Robin Olsen, to be honest with you. I think he's just too mistake-ridden. Obviously, I haven't seen Joe Gauci play. I'm not going to say that I sit up at 3 a.m. and watch the Australian League, Newcastle Jets when Emil Heskey was there. But, he seems to have a lot of ability. I think there was a lot of stuff going around that he's a good backup for us. And like I say, he is a full international, and that always counts for something. I know Robin Olsen was as well. But here he is, like I say, pulling off that weldy that you've already seen. And as I said, final thoughts. He's young, he's tall, he seems impressive from the clips that I've seen. Low cost, and again, probably low salary. I don't know what Robin Olsen's on, I'll try and throw it up here, but he's going to be on less than that. Potential to improve significantly because he is going to be working under our world number 1, Emi Martinez. Literally the best goalkeeper in the world, and he gets to work under him. Robin Olsen's like 30 as well. He ain't picking up new tricks. This guy could. And out of 40 votes, 88% of you agree with me that he is such an upgrade on Robin Olsen. So again, I'm going to give this signing a 7 out of 10. Clearly, we're not going to see him play masses and masses of football for Aston Villa unless Martinez gets injured, which, touch all the wood in the world, he will not. But for a backup goalkeeper, for a cup goalkeeper next year to give Martinez a bit of a break, you can't complain. I think he is an upgrade on Robin Olsen from what I've seen, and he's going to be young and mouldable around the world's best goalkeeper. you literally can't complain. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And there you have it. That is our January transfer window wrapped up. Costa, Nedeljkovic, Morgan Rogers, who has just been announced on Twitter officially, Joe Gauci, and Lino Sousa, the Portuguese left back. We have signed a 16-year-old from West Brom, again, surprise of the century. We just raid their academy every year. But again, I'll do that in like a half-season review for the reserve team that I'm going to put out in a couple of weeks, about all of that kind of stuff and where we're looking for them as well. How would you guys rate this January transfer window? That is going to be another video. I'm going to rate it versus our other top 8 opposition. It's pretty much the other teams in the top 8, and see where we land. Personally, I'd probably give it like a C+. We've signed players for the future. We don't know how this January transfer window is going to turn out because all these players are so young. Morgan Rogers is going to be the only one that's going to get any first-team football for Villa this season, I would assume. But then going forward, we will see. Costa looks like he has heaps of potential, and hopefully this Lino Sousa will as well. So C+, I'm going to reserve judgment on it right now. I will do a comparison video against our top 8 opponents and how their Januaries have gone soon. But it's been a good transfer window. Thank you for all the support on all of the transfer videos. Let's try and push this one to get at least 25 likes. So like the video, subscribe, share it around. I will see you guys tomorrow for my Sheffield United preview. Until then, be nice to everyone, and up the bloody Villa.